Hello, welcome to, I guess this week is the J Show. It's a Jorge show. So this week Viv's busy. Some stuff came up, so she couldn't come, and I'm doing a solo episode, and Viv will be doing one afterwards. Yeah, so we've had a couple of these recently, but we'll try to get back to the usual after summer. It's been a busy summer. So yeah, same as our usual solo topic episodes. We pick several topics, each of us, and then from that group of topics, we pick several. I usually start out, so I tell Viv exactly the topics I talk about, and then she'll talk about the same ones. So you can get, similar topics, different opinions from different people. And it's a cool experience. I think it's like ranting, but with an audience. So I feel like everyone always rants in their own head, and they never say it out loud. And then when they do, or if they do, they realize maybe how dumb they sound or maybe how logical they sound. Usually for me, it's just dumb. Like, I'll think of some polarizing topic and be like, yeah, fuck LGBTQ people. And then I'll say it out loud and I'll think over it a couple times. I'm like, all right, maybe not all of them, maybe just a couple of the letters. The rest are cool. But yeah, anyways, I'll start off with how my week's been. It's been all right. It's been chilling. Didn't play too well, or our team didn't play too well in volleyball this week, so it was finals, but it's okay. We got a week off, and then we have a beach tournament tomorrow too, so that'll be fun. Other than that, work's been chilled. It's kind of like summer end milestone complete type of thing, so things are slowing down a bit right before it picks up, right when September hits. That's as per usual. Hobby wise, I took a week off, or I took a deload week from working out and went more chilled on all my other activities. So this week I'm ramping back up. I actually think I tweaked my back just a little bit yesterday, but within the last 24 hours, it's been feeling a lot better. But I've been a lot more careful of my sitting position and everything I've been doing. So should be good after that. All right, let's start off with let me see. I'm gonna start off with a more lighter topic, and then I'll get into the deep ones. Viv likes to pick really deep topics. I like to pick really chilled ones. Just FYI. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not actually sure why. I like to keep it chilled, but usually if we're fair and I pick some of Viv's topics, we're always gonna talk about something pretty serious. But yeah, I usually like to keep it light. My first one is acquired taste. So I was just randomly searching for topics to talk about, and then I saw this one about acquired taste. So like certain food have an acquired taste, and I kind of knew that, but I didn't completely know, and I didn't really know the rationale. So I searched up only a little bit. So you guys will be part of this research journey with me. But they said some foods are like blue cheese, coffee, olive, sushi, anchovies, raw oyster, Brussels sprouts, cheese, cilantro, dark chocolate, alcohol. Okay. Let's kind of digest all that. Blue cheese, I kind of get it. Blue cheese is super strong, and I think the first time I had blue cheese, I was like, "Whoa, this is kind of wild and weird." And I also feel like, as a kid, I didn't get to try a lot of these things. So when I did try it for the first time, part of me was like, whoa, this is a really cool and new experience. And another part of me is like, I wonder how I'm going to poop this out. Like, I wonder if it's going to be mad in my stomach with this stuff. But yeah, when I tried blue cheese, I think at first I was like, this is really stinky and weird. But then I started liking it a lot more afterwards. And I think that's why it's called an acquired taste. It's like, it's something that may be off-putting at first, but the more you eat it or the more your palate develops, you like it more. That's what I'm guessing. Actually, yeah, let me search up the terms. Acquired taste definition. A thing that one comes to like over time. Okay. I'm searching what else there's. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, I mean, that's the literal definition that happened to me with blue cheese. I think it was similar with olive, but I think I took onto olive a lot quicker than I thought. So at first I thought it was kind of weird tasting. Like it didn't have any taste. Like it was a very neutral flavor. But then when I had olive more and more and different types of olive, I started liking it a lot more and more. And to me, it's like a very unique flavor that I like a lot. So that's one that I do like. Coffee, I've never gotten into coffee. I don't know why. Like I think a lot of people ask me why I don't drink coffee if I don't need the caffeine or something. It's not necessarily the caffeine related, even though I do know I crash pretty hard from caffeine because I don't get caffeine regularly. But I think coffee is two things. So one, I think my mom told me at a very young age that like coffee, like specifically coffee, she didn't even say caffeine, coffee like stunts your growth and stuff. And I was already a really short kid, so I was like, fuck, man, I guess I'm never gonna enjoy this. Because I think as a kid, all the bigger kids and cool kids drink coffee and shit, and you're like, oh my god, that's so cool. But then when my mom told me that, I was like, guess there's no coffee for me. That was number one. And number two, the other thing was my dad drank coffee all the time, and I think coffee breath is like the worst smell in the world. So then I just never, I think those two things combined made me not really get into coffee. Like I think my first experiences were like, Tim Hortons Ice Cap or something like that, and I thought it was okay. But this might be manufactured, but I felt like the sugar and the caffeine always gave me a headache. So then I just never really drank it much at all. Like I think the most caffeinated thing I'll drink when I was a kid was probably tea, like Chinese tea, or like if people are getting stuff from Tim Hortons, I like the steep tea double. But honestly, I think that's just the sugar that I like, not even the. I mean, the flavor's good. It tastes like Hong Kong style tea to me. That's why I liked it a lot. Yeah, I never really got into coffee. And I know a lot of my friends and family are super into it. Luckily, my girlfriend's not that into it. But when I was in Europe, I actually think I would get more into coffee in Europe because when I was there, almost after every meal in France, my girlfriend would get like an espresso. I was like, oh, it's so late. Isn't that gonna fuck with your sleep? She's like, no. She's like, it actually helps me sleep. I was like, oh. So then I tried some and it was super bitter, but it didn't give me like the coffee breath that I think the stuff here gives. And then it did kind of help me sleep because I feel like it gives you like a mini burst and then it crashes and then you kind of just fall asleep. That's just my hypothesis. I'm sure it's not late in science. I'm sure like in the scientific theorems and shit, it's like you shouldn't drink coffee after a certain time in the day just because it's going to affect your sleep. But I don't know, in Europe it kind of helps. So I don't know, man. Maybe they got a different juice there. Who knows? All right, some other ones. Sushi. I don't think sushi's an acquired taste. I think maybe like raw fish you could say is acquired taste, not really sushi itself. I didn't have sushi until I was like a teenager, I think. So I think it wasn't until I was in junior high that I had sushi for the first time. So like when I was a kid, my family almost never went out to eat because it's expensive for my family. And if we ever did, it'll only be Chinese food. It'll only be like double greeting or something like that. And it'll only be for like special events. So like we never go to like Boston Pizza or like I'm trying to think of what other restaurants are. Like Moxie's or like all these random white restaurants. It'll always be as a family, it will always be Chinese food, probably double greeting. Or if not, it was this place that my aunt used to work at called Tongsam. And that was like a restaurant in Chinatown. It used to be pretty popular. And then I think either the restaurant had a fire or something with bums. I don't know. Something like that. And then that place closed down. But it was because my aunt worked there as a waitress. So we always we'd go, me and my grandpa would go for lunch. But most of the time it would be like as a family, it would only be Chinese food. And then maybe like once in a blue moon, I might go with like my dad and my sister for like pho. And that's it. Because usually we'll just make like some variation of pho at home, right? Either like bông riêu or bông bò huế or something, right? Rarely ever actually pho, but yeah. So then, and then we also, like growing up poor, we couldn't really go and eat. So that was kind of the only options. The only other things we did get was like Toonie Tuesday deal or like Taco Wednesday on at Taco Bell. Because it was legitimately worth it at the time. Now I don't know. Now I think is there even a Toonie Tuesday anymore? Let me see. Toonie Tuesday, is it still a thing? Let me see. Oh, it's $2.99 now, but it's only for certain days of the year. Okay, well I guess there's no more Toonie Tuesday, guys. But yeah, so then that's all we ever had. And then so I've never had like sushi and all these other interesting foods until a lot later in my life. So I think the first time I had sushi, my sister brought me out to Kyoto, and I thought it was the best thing in the world. I was like, oh my god, this piece of pink flesh is so fucking good. And that was kind of like my journey of like trying other foods from then on was from sushi. But I think for me it wasn't acquired. Like I liked it right from the get go. Like I know some people they need to be weaned onto sushi or something. I don't even know if wean's the right terminology for this, but they have to like, eat something similar and then get into sushi. But for me, I think for most Asians, it just felt so natural because it's like this is not many steps off of food we typically eat, anyways. But yeah, I don't know why it's on this list for acquired taste. But yeah, anyways, since that sushi moment with my sister, I feel like that's when I've started like trying other foods more. And I think of all the people I know and of my friends, I am probably the one that's most open to trying stuff as long as it's not alive. This is the only thing I don't try. So like I would eat raw stuff that's already dead, but I wouldn't like eat live animals or bugs or fish. Right. So like I wouldn't like go into the fucking ocean, grab a salmon and just start cutting it up and eating it. That's not my style. It's more of a religious thing. But yeah. Anyways, what else is on this list? Anchovies, yeah, I can see. I feel like there's more catered to white people though. Raw oysters. Okay, I also, similar to sushi, liked raw oysters on the very first try. So no issues there. This one's balut. Balut's on the list. Is balut an acquired taste or not? I don't know because I felt like when I had balut as a kid, again, this was like probably somewhere in junior high, I didn't actually know what the fuck it was. I just thought like, oh, this is just like a fucked up egg. I'll just eat it, right? So I think we were in Vietnam and I just ate it. I was just like, all right, whatever. Like, just tastes like food to me. It just tastes like egg, chicken, combo, whatever. And then later on in my life, after like meeting more Filipinos and stuff, they're like, oh yeah, this is balut thing. And then they try to gross you out with it. And I'm just like, yo, that's lunch. What are you talking about? That's just food. So yeah, I've had it many times. And again, I don't think it's an acquired taste. I think it's more of a mental thing than a taste thing. Like you're mentally, people who can't eat it, I think have like more of a mental problem with eating it, where rather than it tastes so fucking gross, I can't eat it. I think I had it in the Philippines too. I think they dip it in vinegar of some sort. In Vietnam, I had it. We just dip it in fish sauce. I don't know. It just tastes like whatever. It's nothing too crazy for me, at least. Maybe for others, it's insane. Brussels sprouts. Okay, Brussels sprouts I do think is an acquired taste, but also I think it's how you cook it. So like if you cook it really well, or if you use a fuck ton of butter, like in restaurants, then it for sure will taste good no matter what. And then if you can't cook it that well, like how my parents do it, they make like Brussels sprout soup, like a Chinese dish. It doesn't taste as well, but I never thought it was like an acquired taste. I just like not even like I just thought it was a preference thing. Like if you like a little bit of bitterness in your food, then Brussels sprouts is fine. If you like no bitterness, then it's not good. Like for me, I like a little bit, but like I'm not at the bitter melon level. Like I don't like very rarely I like bitter melon, and it has to be like cut up very thin and like bathed in salt water and a whole fucking ritual done to it before I'll eat it, because I think it's way too bitter. Like there's a limit to my bitterness tolerance, and I think everyone naturally doesn't like bitter because it's like a sign of poison or something. I think it's like a natural instinct. But I additionally do not like bitterness because in a lot of Chinese medicine when I was a kid, it was always bitter as fuck, right? And it's like the same type of bitterness as bitter melon. Like it's not very many steps far off from the type of bitterness from bitter melon. That's why I don't like bitter melon. So like when people try to troll me and be like, oh yeah, what food do you actually hate, Jorge? And I'm like, dude, like I don't hate a lot of food, but like bitter melon's probably one of them. If you want to, try to get me with something I don't like, but I think a lot of people don't like it, so it's not weird, you know what I mean? It's like people who don't like, I don't know, like pineapples on their pizza, right? If you said if I said like, oh yeah, pineapple on pizza, it'd be like 50-50, right? It's not It's not weird to not like it, and it's not weird to like it. But like bitter melon, it's like I feel like it's like 90-10. And it just changed with age. If you're old as fuck, you like bitter melon, and if you're not, then you're like, I don't like bitter melon. And it's just naturally just don't like bitter melon. What's another one? Cilantro. Oh, cilantro. I actually don't like cilantro. As a kid, I've never liked cilantro. I'm never a fan of it. But it's very toned down compared to a lot of my friends. Like my girlfriend, she fucking hates it. She can't have it. Some of my good friends, they hate it. They can't have it. For me, I'm like, if I had the option, if someone could tell me ahead of time that, do you want cilantro or not? Then I'd be like, no, I don't want cilantro. But if they didn't tell me that and they're making food for me and it's already there, I'm like, whatever. It is what it is, right? Now, I wouldn't eat like a full on, like straight cilantro salad, like just cilantro and salad dressing. That's fucking crazy. I know some people do. And I'm not completely opposed to it. Like, I like sometimes some sauces have cilantro in it. Not like just salsa, but like, I think So Fried Chicken, they have like a cilantro sauce for one of their chickens, and I'm okay with that. Like that one's okay because I feel like it's like the cilantro's there, but it's not the strongest, or it is the strongest flavor, but it's not the only flavor, and the combination is kind of nice. So I don't mind it, but I don't think cilantro's an acquired taste because I feel like it's a genetic thing, is what I was told. Like some people literally, for them, taste like soap, and for some people it doesn't. So I feel like my Google search list is fucking ass. Oh, whatever. The other one, they says dark chocolate and alcohol. So dark chocolate, yes, I do think it's acquired. I think I like dark chocolate a lot more than I used to. When I was a kid, I fucking hated it because I thought, again, it was like really bitter. But then now it's like, oh, it's kind of nice bitter rather than like bitter melon bitter. I used to love white chocolate until I found out what was in it, which isn't even chocolate anymore. So I was like, dude, all these fake science reports or science studies on chocolate is completely out the window when it comes to white chocolate. So it's not even good for you at all. Like it's like 0% good. And that just made me sad about white chocolate, so I stopped eating it as much. But if you ask me what my favorite Hershey Kisses is, it's the cookies and cream one, which is like a white chocolate with cookies and cream inside. That's probably my favorite one. Or like the Hershey's bar. I like the white chocolate cookies and cream one too. I mean, it's the same thing, but yeah. Alcohol. Acquired taste for alcohol. I don't know. So like I know that you can get PTSD. Like I have PTSD with vodka because I've had like a bad experience, or like I've had PTSD with rum because I've also had a bad experience. But enjoying it as a flavor, maybe some. So, or maybe my palate's not developed enough. So for me, like beer, I'm pretty cool with most beer, as long as it's not like a Guinness. I'm not a fan of Guinness. Like I'm not a fan of like heavy, dark, bitter beers. I'm a wuss, so I like light beers, like Corona and stuff like that, and those I think taste fine. In terms of hard alcohol, I don't know. Like in my head, in my opinion, like a shot's a shot. So it's like whatever, right? Like I'm not. It feels like from a very young age, I've never truly enjoyed that. I know some people can be like, oh yeah, I'll have like whiskey on the rocks and stuff like that, but I don't know. For me, it just feels weird. It just feels still kind of gross, and the flavor's not really there. But again, maybe because I'm a wuss, or maybe my palate's like a child, so I can't have that stuff. But I'm every other alcohol is like I'm just gonna down it, or it has to be mixed in some way. And usually when it's mixed, it's like the other thing it's being mixed in to me is like the dominant flavor. The other flavor's still there, but like in a Caesar, it's mostly tomato. In rum and Coke, that if I don't have PTSD from rum, it's mostly like the Coke flavor with the hint of rum. And depending on light and dark, you can kind of tell the difference between that. But yeah, alcohol, I don't know. I'm not a connoisseur. I can't tell the difference. I can't like, sip on vodka and be like, this is some good ass vodka. Like the only thing I can tell is that if I drink it really quickly, what hurts more and what hurts less, right? So it's like fucking Smirnoff hurts like a bitch, or like Absolute hurts, or there's other, say, shittier brands, they hurt a lot, and then like Grey Goose goes down really nicely, and that's all I can think of. And I think it's just like the filtration level or something like that. So is it acquired taste? Yeah, I do think alcohol is acquired taste. I just haven't acquired it. I love to, like, I watch these videos, this guy called Wine King sometimes. He's like a Korean dude who's like a polyglot. I'm pretty addicted to like watching polyglots because I'm very amazed by their language techniques. And yeah, like when he describes stuff, he's like, oh yeah, this wine's like, you know, the vintage and all this other shit. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I wish I could do that. But at the same time, I was like, I kind of do and I kind of don't, because I know to be at that level of liking wine, you probably have to drink a lot of different wine. And for, again, maybe I'm too basic, but for someone with a basic palate, maybe like a $10 wine is just as good for me than some crazy expensive wine. I have no idea. I don't want to try out. I'm not much of a drinker anyways. But yeah, that's the acquired. What else is on this list? Organ meats. Yeah, organ meats. I don't know if it's an acquired taste or if it's like a childhood thing. Like if you ate organ meats as a kid, I feel like you're fine when you grow up. Fermented foods. I can see that kind of being an acquired taste. But I think in general, most fermented foods is a bit sour. So as long as you like sour, it's not too bad. But I do know there's some strongness in the flavor. What else is there? No, I think that's just, that's all on this list of stuff. They had anchovies on here. I don't know why. In my opinion, I don't think anchovies is acquired taste. Just like any, or similar to fishy taste stuff. I don't know. I think also because I ate it a lot as a kid with like Nut Mum, like fish sauce. It's just whatever. All right. Anyways, that was the first topic: acquired taste and things. Now, before I go into some of this more serious topics, I searched up what the top 10 best things to rant about. So this is on thetop10s.com. I guess this was voted for by many people, and then this is the fucking top 10 they got. Dude, these guys are all degen on the internet, by the way. Number 1's racism, of course. Number 2's incels. I was like, what the fuck? Number 3's chip bags full of 90% air. This one I think is a good rant to do. 4th one is sexual harassment. 5th one is terrorism. 6th is fake friends. Number 7 is stalkers. Number 8 is murderers. Number 9 is rapists. And number 10 is slow walkers. So of this entire fucking list on the top10s.com for top 10 best things to rant about, I can only agree with chip bags full of 90% air and slow walkers. And maybe I'd be okay ranting about terrorism. But the rest is kind of like, what the fuck? Why is this in the top 10? I just feel like there'd be more interesting things to rant about. Like, I feel like these are all like victims, no? Like, this is all like a group full of victims voting on things. Or like the internet's most voters are all a bunch of victims or some shit. I mean, I guess 90% air is a victim. Chip bags full of 90% air is kind of victim mentality too. So, I don't know. I guess maybe I am a little bit of a victim of that, you know, these motherfucking lays. But yeah, interesting. That was the topics. Maybe I'll explore some of these with Viv one day. But not today. All right. So let me jump to one of Viv's topic, then back to mine, and then back to hers or something like that. I mean, I was gonna say you guys can guess whose topic's whose, but you guys can figure it out now, I guess. You guys can deduce the facts. If you can't, then sucks to be you. So one of her topics was, how does getting a dog affected you in your life? Getting Tara was, I think, probably one of the best things that's happened to me. I mean, if I were to list top best things, I don't know. Being born's pretty good. Alive. I love being alive. That's pretty sick. That's probably up there, number 1. Thanks the pops and the mums. Tara's probably top 5. I can't put him. I don't want to rank him with other shit, like, you know, my career and like my relationships and stuff. But yeah, Tara's probably for sure in the top 5. How has he affected me in my life? Well, my life for sure has been a bit more complicated or complex when you get more responsibility. I think that's like a given. But it's something that I am almost never mad about, like that responsibility. Like, for example, I'm trying to think of a good way of thinking about this. Like, say you got a plant or something like that, and you want to go out for the week, and you're like, shit, I gotta find someone to go water this plant. It's a responsibility that's annoying and stuff, right? And you think about it, it's like, oh, fuck, now to get someone to come in and do all this stuff, yeah, et cetera, right? But for me, like, my dog being a responsibility, like, 99.99% of the time, I'm not upset about that responsibility. And then maybe 0.01% of the time, I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to figure out like a babysitter for him for this day or something like that. But that comes and goes so fast that I barely think about it. So to me, it's not a big deal at all. But yeah, it's given me more responsibility, which I think is always good. Especially if you're up for the challenge. Even if you're not up for the challenge, but you're close to being up for the challenge, it's like a good challenge to like become a better person, in my opinion. It's made me care for something else a lot more. Like I think before Taro, it was like my life was pretty good, as in like I didn't really care about stuff because, you know, my parents were in a good spot, my siblings were in a good spot, I didn't have a girlfriend at the time, and I loved me the most at the time, which is very selfish, but I was like, yeah, it is what it is. And then when I got Taro, that kind of flipped my life completely. And I'm like, no, man, I fucking love this guy a lot. He's like my best friend. So yeah, it's really cool. Taro, especially being a small dog, I feel like big dogs kind of understand you a bit more, but small dogs don't. So he's literally like a child all the time. And that's like a good and bad thing, right? He's a child as in like sometimes he just doesn't understand shit. But he's also a child where he was like very easy to please, always happy, you know, doing things to just enjoy life, right? It's like if I were to want to be reincarnated as a pet, I would want to be a dog of a Chinese family. And fuck you guys, racism aside, it's not because they'll eat me, but it's because I feel like Asian families spoil the shit out of their dogs, like way more than other families, in my opinion. Because I feel like sometimes when I see other, let's say like white families or whatever, and how they're there with their dogs and they just drop them off at like daycare all the time, or like, you know, leave them in the crate for 8 hours or some shit, I'm like, fuck. But for like my dog, and I think most of my Asian friends, we spoil the shit out of our dogs, dude. It's literally a child. And it's like, get whatever they want, get fat all the time because they get to eat as much as they want, beg for treats anytime they want, just fucking paw the door once and you get to go outside, do whatever you want, beg for anything. It's fucking great. But yeah, I love Taro. He's affected my life as I care about something a lot more now. Like I feel like when you care about yourself, you can only care so much, but when you have to care for something else, it kind of deepens the amount and level of caring. And I think that's probably the same of like how people say it's like it's different when you get a kid, because the level and degree of how much you care for something is now drastically changed. And I'm not trying to compare like pets to kids, but I think it's like in that spectrum. Whereas like when you become independently responsible and you care for yourself a lot and you love yourself a lot and your friends and family, let's say, but then all of a sudden you have a responsibility of like a pet, then the amount of love you have to give that's unconditional is like even more now. And then obviously when you get a kid, it's going to be even more than that, right? That's how I kind of scale it, or that's how I imagine. I don't have kids, so I have no idea exactly. I mean, I have nieces and nephews, and I love them a lot. And yeah, I think it's probably similar. As soon as I get my own kids, probably gonna be that exponential growth of caring. But yeah, he's taught me about caring a lot and patience. He's taught me a lot about patience. I used to be very, very, very impatient. Very easy to get angry, but with a dog, it's like you can't do that. It's like it's not his fault. It's not his or her fault. They didn't do anything. You just have to train them right. So it's like you could get angry, but the most you could do is get angry at yourself for not training them properly or teaching them properly, right? So you just have to learn to be patient. And I think that those are the two biggest things for me. Is that it's shown me how to care more, and it's shown me how to be more patient, right? And coincidentally, like 2-3 weeks after getting my dog, I met my current girlfriend Joyce. And yeah, that was just pure coincidence, and that kind of like both of them kind of evolved into something, right? Which is very important in my life, right? So yeah, that's how my dogs affected me in my life a lot. Some things people say, would you get another dog? Yes, I think I could handle another dog. But the thing I dread the most, and I know it's sad to think about, but sometimes I do think about it, it's like their lifespan is much shorter than ours, so one day they will pass probably within your lifetime, and I just don't even want to think about it because I know I will be very, very sad, but it's the whole Shakespeare thing, right? So it's like better to love and lost than to never love at all. So to me, like that's how I treat like pets for myself, like my dog and stuff. It's like it's better that I had him and had the opportunity to love him than to never and then lose him and then to rather than to never have had him at all. So yeah, I would definitely get another dog if I could. And I think it's changed me for the better. And in Buddhism, we kind of think of it as like some karmic thing. So like, your dog might be some relative of yours from like past ancestry or some shit that's like connected to your life. Like the people around you are all connected to your life somehow. Like your business partner may have been like your nephew in a past life or some weird thing how life's all intertwined with fate and all these things. So I mean, I kind of believe that, but I don't know. Like, you can't really make heads or tails with it, right? You can only just say, like, yeah, I'll treat him the best I can. But that should be for anyone, anyways, right? But I think the degree of how I can treat people now is probably increased because I got a dog. And because I know how well I can treat him, I know that I have that extra level of, like, loving care that I didn't know I had. Even when I was in a relationship, I didn't know I had that much loving care. But when I got my dog, I was like, oh, damn. I could love something and care for something that well. I think I'd be okay. But yeah, that's my answer. Let me see if there was anything else to this question. I don't think so. How has getting a dog affected you in your life? Yeah, it's good. I like it. A bit more responsibility, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And it's nice. I always have something to go home to, if that makes sense too. So like if I had a shitty day, at least I can come home, play with my dog, he'll cheer me up. And then if I had a good day, then I can come home and like bother the shit out of him, and he also loves that. So at the end of the day, whatever I do, I'll come home and someone's always happy to see me. And that's like probably one of the best things of having a dog. All right, next thing I want to talk about. Let me see how time's going. All right, time-wise we're good, I think. Next thing I want to talk about, which is kind of cool, is like subscription based life. So I feel like this is probably something that has become more relevant in the last 10 years and may or may not become more and more relevant in the future, where it's like you don't own things anymore and it's going to be a subscription based life. And I just want to talk about my thoughts on that. So pros, cons, or where it's going to go. That's kind of what I want to talk about. And the first thing is like, what are some subscriptions in my life? Well, I subscribe to like Spotify. I have an Amazon Prime account. What else do you pay monthly for? Costco. I have a Costco membership. It's an annual subscription. I'm just trying to think what other bills I have. But like one thing that kind of came to mind too is like technically we kind of have like a model of this already, even before 10 years ago. So like my phone bill is kind of a subscription, right? I subscribe and I pay monthly for a fee to do this, to use the service, right? It's just, we call it a bill instead of a subscription, right? But let's just say the concept of subscription is, it's the same thing, right? Your phone bill, your water, electricity bill, you made an agreement with your utility company and you pay a monthly rate fee based on what you use and you get whatever, right? The thing that's outside of a subscription-based model, or let's say what isn't a subscription-based model, are things that you just buy and outright own for the entirety of its usefulness, right? So like if you bought a car completely, then yeah, you have it for the entirety of it, right? If you leased a car, that's getting closer to this subscription-based lifestyle where it's like you don't really own it, and you're paying a fee every month or every year or whatever your payment is to use this thing, and then if you don't pay, it goes away, right? And I think it's unique because like there are some things that we're already doing that we don't even know that are subscription based, which is like I said, phone bills, utility, and all that stuff is kind of like that. And kind of like insurance, but insurance is more of a scam because you don't really get anything unless something happens to you, which I kind of like. I'm not a fan of insurance. I think insurance is a total fucking scam. They're probably like, they're of all conspiracies and shit, I think they're the most powerful group of people is probably the insurance companies and stuff. Because for them to have that big of a hold on people's lives and stuff is insane. I'm pretty sure, like, if you didn't have a mortgage, your biggest fee in your life annually is probably either property tax or insurance. And that's fucked. But even property tax, how does that work? Can we say property tax is kind of like subscription based? Well, yes and no. Like, you're paying a fee for these services, right? Property tax are linked to your like garbage disposal and all these other services they do, like fixing the roads and sidewalks of the city that you live in. So yeah, kind of. But like insurance, there is no true value that you get from it, right? Like I could argue in my property tax, which I don't pay because I'm lucky and I live at home, but the property tax my parents pay, technically I can say factually that the service we get is they repave our road every X amount of year in front of our house and all the roads I use. They'll repave that every X amount of years. They'll fix up the sidewalks if it's bad. They'll grab my garbage weekly. They'll, make sure that the water supply infrastructure, but I guess that's more of utility, but they'll make sure some of that infrastructure is good to go. They'll make sure that firefighters get paid to save me in that situation that I need it. Same as police and all that stuff. So then you can almost argue your way to saying that you actually get some value from property tax, income tax, and all that stuff, right? Income tax, there's like social security net. If I lose my job one day, I get some money from the government and, help other people who are in bad situations. Just by the way, hot topic. I'm not a fan of too much social security. I think it's somewhat fucking ridiculous. I think everyone should try to and hopefully pull their own weight and then help others kind of thing. But yeah. And then in subscription lifestyle, like what else is going to start becoming subscription? And I always thought if self-driving vehicle becomes a thing, like Uber might just be a lifestyle subscription thing. Like you don't own a car anymore. These self-driving vehicles will come and pick you up, drop you off wherever you want. You have not unlimited, but you have like a monthly pass that gets you this many kilometers. And then, if you only use that many kilometers that month, then you just pay the same subscription fee. Anything over that, you pay whatever fee per kilometer. And they might do it in a way, the only way that people will go for it is that they have to do it in a way where it's actually competitive to owning a car. Where you're not paying that much more or potentially paying less money, or ideally paying less money to get this subscription-based Uber that shows up on time and shit and brings you where you need, and you don't actually ever have to own a car, right? Yeah, like that might become a thing, this whole subscription-based thing for cars. Other things, if you think about leasing, I feel like it's like kind of big in the newer generation where they're just putting payment plans on everything. So like, I remember when I was a kid, when my dad had to like buy a TV or whatever, or like do some construction at home, we had to kind of do a payment plan, but it wasn't some fucking shark loan type payment plan that they have nowadays. And nowadays, I feel like the new generation, from watching these YouTube videos, and maybe it's skewed because I'm watching videos specifically about that stuff, but like allegedly a lot of the younger generation, or even my generation, is putting a lot of shit in payment plans. Like going to get their Uber Eats, they're putting that on a payment plan and all that stuff, and it just helps them in terms of paying it off and stuff. But as soon as you don't pay it off, it's like fucking shark loan level fees and stuff, and interest rates, right? So it's pretty crazy on that part. But it's already very relevant. Like it's becoming a thing. Another thing I thought would be for sure subscription based, and it kind of is right now, is cloud compute. So it's kind of subscription based because you pay a monthly fee for however much gigs of data transfer that you get for your internet, but it's usually some very high number, and unless you're running a server at home, you probably won't ever reach that number. But one day it might be a thing where you don't actually buy a PC and a graphics card and all this stuff at home to play your video games. It might, if the internet speeds get even faster, then it might just all be like cloud compute from a centralized server, computer servers and all that stuff. And then you just need that internet connection. So at home, you literally have like your router into a small box that's now called your PC, but it's a super small box, maybe attached to the back of your monitor, and then your mouse and keyboard, and then you just play video games. Like none of the processing actually happens on your PC. So that's another cool subscription based, like PC gaming or even PC use. Like a lot of cloud computing is already subscription based for the use. What else could be? I mean, even right now you have subscription based for your TV, Netflix and things like that. But I mean, potentially even like owning a TV. It might be like leasing a car. You know what I mean? You own the best 70-inch organic LED right now, but it's leased, and then 5 years from now, after all your monthly payments, you like trade it in for the next best TV, and then you don't have this extra TV at home. That could be a thing. Or even like furniture. Like it could get to the point where it's like, yeah, you lease all your furniture instead of buying your furniture, but then 5 years later, when your furniture gets outdated, you're still paying the same fees, but you're saying, hey, I want to upgrade this to this next one, or some shit like that. That could very much be a thing. But I think the biggest effect on our life is probably going to be the car, like the driving one. What else would there be on subscription-based lifestyle? I don't know. So like there's pros and cons. So like the cons to it is that they're obviously always going to charge more and more money. That's 100% always going to happen. And at the end of the day, you don't own it. So they can set like BS rules and regulations, pretty much affect your freedom of whatever you want to do with whatever you have. If you have a lot of subscription based things in your life, right? Like if you don't own anything, right? Like if I had a subscription based thing where I'm leasing my computer chair right now, well, I can't just fucking break the arm the arm of the chair, or I can't just like drill a hole and like add some mods to my chair now, right? Like it's owned by someone else technically, and that just ruins the agreement or something like that, right? And that's just little things, but this could expand quite quickly, right? So that's kind of insane. That's the cons to it. And then some pros is like some things could legitimately be cheaper, just because of the efficiencies of having more people on it. So it's like, instead of me owning my computer and having my graphics card run whenever I want to play video games, if there was, say, like 100,000 graphics card in this one warehouse and 1 million people have access to it, but we just use it at different times. It's not like a time slot you have to book. It's just like people just use it at different times. Like I might play video games at 8 p.m. and my friends might play video games at 1 a.m. or some shit. So like we all might be accessing the same graphics card, but just at different times. So then only one's really required. So things might legitimately be cheaper. Like my subscription might be cheaper than me buying a computer. Like if my subscription for this thing that I'm imagining up, if it costs the same as my computer would cost, so like if it costs in 5 years of paying that subscription, if that would pay for like a brand new computer myself, then it might be worth it, because in 5 years time my computer's completely outdated, not useful anymore, and in 5 years time I just pay another one of this fee and I have the most upgraded thing in the world, right? So that is a thing. That is one of the pros to it, is it could be cheaper and it could be more efficient, and it definitely could be a bit better if you're thinking about reducing usage. So the whole like TV thing, right? So instead of like having to instead of you having to throw away your TV, you give it to this company, the company could recycle it and make another TV out of the parts, or recycle the parts or something like that, right? It goes directly back to them. At the end of the day, they might just throw it away if that's how the cost works. So it's not completely environmentally friendly, but that's kind of one thing I can kind of argue for it. And then the other thing is like it could be more efficient. So it's kind of cool. I don't know if you guys can think of any other subscription based bullshit, but I think for some things it's super cool. For some things I'm really scared about, because I like to own the stuff I have in general, just because I like to mod everything I have. So probably sucks for me in the future, but for people who don't like that stuff, like it might be the best thing in the world. Kind of cool. I wonder what other people think about this subscription-based life that we're slowly leading to. Everything's like a paid tier system and all this BS. I mean, there's a Black Mirror episode about it recently, about like ads and all this stuff with this girl. Like they saved a woman's life, but then she'll like randomly say ads all the time. I think it was a recent Black Mirror episode. I was like, yep, I could see that happening, and that's fucked up, and that's probably what they're gonna do, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know what the better way is though. Or I mean, not better way, but I don't know how to stop them from doing that, because if there's money to be made from like ad revenue and all this shit, then they'll try to make it, right? Like if somehow, some way, someone can definitively say in a scientific experiments that, your ads don't fucking work, they don't make people buy this stuff anymore, stop throwing your money at these advertisements, and then maybe people won't do that, right? Maybe people won't funnel so much money into advertisement into these things, but so far it's still working for all I know, right? That's how people learn about these things. But that being said, I think the older generation maybe gets scammed a bit more. Not scammed, but like they get more easily convinced with ads and stuff. Whereas the younger generation might be more like, oh no, I want to see it in a more like content friendly way or something. Like it can't just be like a fucking pop up ad or a pop up thing on your computer when you're surfing the web and stuff, right? So who knows? I'm not sure about that. All right. The last topic we're talking about. This one's a heavy one. Of course, you might guess who it might be from, but this one's a heavy one. What is your perspective on death? I think we had a death podcast like really, really early on. One of our first podcast episodes actually was about. Let me see the wording of what. Yeah, just what is your perspective on death? This one's a interesting topic. I fear death. I fear death a lot. I think it's a very sad thing when I see it. So like I've never looked someone in the face and saw the life go out of their eyes, you know, one of those situations. I've never been in the room when someone died. I never want to be, but it might happen one day. Actually, no. Oh fuck. Actually, this was a really sad moment. It wasn't a person. It was a dog. It was when my girlfriend's family dog. They had to let her down because she was having a lot of health issues. And it was like a semi emergency thing. I drove my girlfriend there, or I drove the dog and my girlfriend there and stuff, and I was there with them. And yeah, like we went into the room, and they were about to do it, and I was like okay, sorry, okay, let's get the full story. So I went there. Obviously, my girlfriend was really sad. Her sister was on her way, and my girlfriend was super super sad. I was there with her, and then I like saw their dog. It was super super sad, and then they told me to come in the room with them, and I was there with them. I was like, okay, what's going on, right? And then they're saying like, oh, okay, they just want family members to be around when it happens, so then they're more like they know that they're with people they love and things like that. And I was like, wait a second. I was like, it's not that I don't love the dog, but it's like I've only known this dog for like a couple months, or like I think less than a year, or maybe just at a year. So I was like, wait, I don't know if I should be here. I definitely I didn't want to be there too, because it was like I was scared. It was a scary thing. Like death is super super scary. So I didn't want to be there for my own cowardice, and also yeah, like it was super sad, and I didn't want to be part of that super sad thing. But they just closed the door. I couldn't leave at that point, and then they just did it, and I was like, damn, that's fucking terrifying and scary, right? That like a human could just press the button kind of thing like that, right? You know how like in TV show there someone's in a coma in a vegetable state and someone has to pull the plug and shit and no one wants to do it kind of thing. Yeah. I was there for that. That was pretty sad. But in terms of a human, I don't think I've ever seen anyone die in front of my eyes. That would be very scary, I think. That would be it would probably change me. In some way. I've no idea how. And I don't know. I have no idea like to what effect. But I assume seeing someone die and also killing someone, those are probably the two biggest things that's gonna like really change your life. I don't ever want to kill anyone, and I would like to see as few people die as possible. I know some things may or may not be inevitable, like my family members. If my parents are super old and they die of old age, which is what I want in their life, or maybe they're in the hospital bed and it's their last couple of days. It's not going good. The doctor tells you that. Yeah, I want to be there. I want to like physically be there because I want them to be with their loved ones. But I still have that fear of death, right? Like death is still a very scary thing. And I think I'm very open and okay to say that. Maybe some people aren't. They're like, oh, you're a wuss for being scared of death. But I don't know. I feel like to be human, you have to be scared of death. If not, then a part of you that's human is not there anymore, right? So my perspective of death is it's a very scary and sad thing. And there are different emotions for different times of the death, right? Like I do believe at the time of it, you should be feeling like the sadness, maybe a bit of that fear, and then maybe like I've been to a couple funerals this year, and it's super super sad. Um, Part of me hopes and wishes it was not that sad, as in like I if it was me, I would want people to celebrate my life, and if I take that same mentality, if it was someone else, I would want to like help them celebrate their life. But like many deaths, I think, are like tragic and sudden, so it's so hard to like think of that, right? Like if your grandpa is like, you know, a centenarian, like 100 years old, and he passes of some type of old age related thing, right? I feel like in those situations, you're more okay and willing to like celebrate their life, right? Because it's like they lived it. They lived it as full as they can. Very little pain and suffering, and then you can really truly celebrate, right? But if like someone you know dies in a car crash, it's like, oh, it's like very tragic, right? And because of that tragedy, it's very hard to think of that mentality. Even though that's what I want. I want people to like celebrate other people. I want that positivity, right? Because it is the end of their chapter. But would you rather have your end of a chapter be, you know, a bunch of sadness, or would you want it to be like celebration of all you've done and what you are and what you mean to people, right? That's how I think of it. And I think if it was me, I obviously, again, I fear death, and I want to die of old age with you know, a wife and grandkids and all this stuff, and you know, a loving family. Not like, I'm not saying like I need a fucking whole village and like, or a whole city to come see me when that happens. No, I just need the several people that I know that love me, that I love them, to be there for me in that time, right? That would be, you know, the end goal, right? Like, what do you want in your grave? You just want, like, for me, I just want to not be a dick and just know that I loved and was loved, and you know, care for the people that matter to me, right? So yeah, I mean, that's what I think about like deaths and stuff, and like the funerals I've been to this last year is just all like tragic deaths, and it's just super super fucking sad. I was just like, it just breaks my heart, you know. Especially when people go up to the speeches, I was like, I can't. Like, I instantly get water in my eyes and stuff. It's just so hard for me. But yeah, I mean, if you're ask me what death is, I think it's just a mix of emotions of different times, right? That's my perspective on death. Definitely a lot of fear for me in it, and sadness. But then I think ideally at some point you have to have that light at the end of the tunnel where there's like celebration of all you've accomplished and done in life, right? Like if okay, I don't want to pass away, guys. If anything happens to me, it's not fucking me, guys. Okay. But if I could do the things and be the person I want to be and have integrity and treat the people I love with care, and I passed away, I would personally, let's say like in wherever I go, which I don't know where we go after death, I wouldn't feel so bad because I'd be like, I did all the things I want to do. Like there's no regrets there. I wasn't like a dick to many people, or hopefully no one at all. And I cared for the people that needed to be cared for, and that I love, right? So in that case, I do want some happiness in that, as in like, you know, I want people to be like, yo, he did it, you know, end of life. He did what he wanted to do in his life, and it might be simple. Like for me, I feel like maybe I'm not as ambitious as other people. I don't want to be like a Sam Altman or like a fucking Elon Musk or anything. I don't want to reinvent the fucking world or anything. I just want to do fucking cool shit at work, engineering and shit, cool stuff with my career, and then love the people that I love, and that's it. Maybe I'm too simple. I'm not ambitious enough, and that's why I can't get anywhere further. But that's what I think, at least. But yeah, that's my perspective on death in terms of the actual thing happening. It's scary, it's sad, and then I think at the end it has to be some type of happiness or celebration of, hey, this person did a lot in their life and they were meaningful to us, right? That's what I think. Yeah, I know. Bums me out too. Fucking heavy topic. I'm gonna say it out now. Blame fucking Viv, guys. She's the one who picked this one. And then, okay, what do I think happens after you die? Well, I'm religiously a Buddhist. So in our culture, it's kind of a whole reincarnation cycle. Um, but I think there's still, I don't know how it works. Like, I don't know how time works when you die and all this stuff in my religion, but it's kind of like, not really pay for your sins, but like based on the shit you've done, you might get reincarnated to something else, and some things aren't good. So like the best thing to get reincarnated is human. So like even if you say like reincarnate as actually here, let me get the fucking facts for you guys. The reincarnation realms. Okay. It's gods, demigods, humans, animals, hungry ghosts, and hell. So those are the possible paths of reincarnation, right? And allegedly, apparently, other than reaching nirvana, which is like being enlightened and stuff, and in that state there is no death. Like it's just death free. It's just live forever in whateverness, right? Uh, all of these are not that great. Because okay, so like the best of these six is humans, is what I've been taught. Is because all of them are pretty self-explanatory. Hell, hungry ghosts, those suck. Animals, like let's be real, guys. Like I said, other than a dog for a Chinese family, your life's gonna suck. Like if you're a deer, think about being a deer and always fucking watching out for like hunters, human hunters, and wolves and bears and all this bullshit. It's pretty bad, and they have some like crazy, like bacterial diseases and shit like that. The God one is actually not that great from what I've learned, is because the fact that you will leave that realm factually, as in you cannot stay there, and it's like your pride is going to overwhelm you and destroy you, kind of thing. Demigod, I don't know. I honestly don't know the complete difference. I don't understand all this to the fullest degree. But what I was told is human's always the best one. Because you have the most control of your own path. It's like you don't have any control, obviously, in hell, obviously, as a hungry ghost. And then animals, it's like you only have some kind of control, but dude, like, it's the fucking jungle. You're going to die. It's going to be like a shitty death, very painful. So there's only so much you can do. But humans is the ones where you have the most ability to affect your karma, as in like doing good for other people. So like that's what you want to be. That's what you also want to reincarnate as, because like you can keep being a good person, right? So yeah, that's part of my religious beliefs. I don't know. No, that can be proven, so I have no idea. Some things I do believe. I think in our culture, it's like the first, I forgot the number. Is it 24 or 72 hours? First something hours. Maybe 24 hours. First 24 hours after you die. I think it's either a Buddhism thing or like my family myth thing, where it's like you can still feel physical sensation. So that's why generally they don't like to donate the organs, because it could still be very painful in your, the soul can still feel the physical sensation of the body. But yeah, and that's why there's like certain rules of like, how we bury the stuff, and we typically cremate the bodies. Guys, I don't understand like the fucking rationale to all of it. I was told what I was told as a kid, and I was still being told this as an adult, and I never questioned it because I was always scared of death. So don't blame me for not knowing too much about this. But yeah, that's the situation for that. That's what I think happens. I do believe in reincarnation. I do think there's like fate and stuff. Like some people I just look at and I start talking to them a little bit, and I'm like, yo, this guy's a bro. Like this guy's a homie. Maybe last life he was my actual brother or something like that, but this person's connected with me in some other way. And I feel like it's an intermix of like this karmic thing that happens with Buddhism, but also like fate, right? Like fate kind of brings that stuff to happen, right? It's weird. Like, I think Buddhism's cool because it's one of the religions where there's no like real gods. Like, as in, no one can control your path. So you as a free human can do whatever the fuck you want. But at the same time, it and I myself believe in like this thing called fate, right? And like, what is fate, right? Like, I think fate has some way of pushing you to do certain things or like gravitating certain people to certain things for something to happen, right? But at the end of the day, I still do believe it's all your free will. Like, you have still full control of it. I know that's like a conspiracy topic and stuff, but that's what I believe in. And I just think fate is not necessarily God, as in like there may not be a specific rhyme or reason for it, but like a coincidence that this shit happens. Like, I think, in my opinion, and I could be wrong about this because I don't study religion, but in my opinion, God, in terms of like God, like people who believe in like Christianity or about gods and like Islam and Muslims and stuff like that, they think that, you know, there's a path that's given to you and it's from God and it's like directed by a higher being, right? I think there is some direction from fate, but I don't think it's a higher being. I think it's just intertwine of our karma and all this other stuff that we bump paths with the people that happen, and it's just some crazy amount of coincidence that creates this whole or that is created by this thing called fate. And maybe some people would say like, oh, that's a cop out, like that might be just God in another form. I was like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, but I just don't think that there's a higher being, and I don't think that something is already set for me. Like, I still have my own path that I want to go to, even though fate will push me one way or the other based on whatever that thing is, fate, right? But I still, at the end of the day, have full control of myself, is what I believe in, right? But who knows? If we're all in a simulation, then I'm just a fucking dumbass right now. So who knows? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed those topics on my solo podcast. I don't think there's anything else I want to talk about. Talked about some fun stuff and then some deep shit. And I'll pass this on to Viv. I think we're gonna post hers next week, but I'm not sure. So like, just to let you guys know, me and Viv are going on vacation together soon. And we're going, I think, in 2 weeks or something like that. So we're going to have to figure out our posting schedule, but we're going to try to get as much coverage, but we might have 1 or 2 weeks off from posting. But hopefully when we go on vacation together, we'll get you guys some content from there, some pictures, maybe some videos, and definitely some mini podcast talks with the people we're traveling with, right? So that should be fun. Hopefully you guys are into it. And definitely listen to Viv's. It should be after this one, so it should be next week, but we haven't decided. But it will be coming soon. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, thanks for supporting us. See you guys. Bye.